we got to start in the NFL with C.J. Stroud, rookie-setting performance for a quarterback in NFL history. We've talked a bit about him in the past, but what are you seeing right now from somebody who looks like the real long-term answer at the position for the Texans?
Yeah, I mean, there's no position in sports that can erase other sins, if you will, more than the quarterback position. And if you've got your guy as an organization, now you start building. And you've got your guy on a rookie contract for 5 years, so 4 more years after this. It's, as a general manager, there's no better place to be, right? I mean, everyone's looking for that guy. And C.J. Stroud, through 9 games of the season, is clearly shown that he is the future in Houston and that they can take that next level moving forward. And the thing that I said it, and every evaluator said it, he's the best pure thrower and passer of the football in this past draft class, including Bryce Young and Will Levis and all the other guys. But the thing that two things I should say. First of all those questions about the cognitive tests coming in. Is he another Ohio State quarterback? Can he really read the field? Here's your proof, bud. Everyone who was knocking on the guy saying he's just another Ohio State quarterback. Ryan Day put him in position to succeed. He doesn't know how to read the whole field. He doesn't have the mind, the decision making to make sharp decisions quickly when he needs to process. How do you still say that now? You can't. I didn't see it in college, and I went against that cognitive test and had him rated as high as I did because the tape to me is always what you go back to, and the tape showed a guy that could go from read 1 to 2 to 3. And yeah, he had first-round receivers to throw to, but he was making the right reads. He was throwing with anticipation and timing. And so that's the first thing that's jumped out to me. I wanted to see when you get to the next level, new coaching staff, new play calling, new system. Is he going to be able to transition, and how long will it take him? Because maybe he's going to be great, but maybe coming from that system with all those first-round receivers and all the talent around him, maybe it's going to take a couple years. It hasn't. And I've always said, and we've talked about this before, Ryan, you can't count out a guy if he doesn't play well in year 1. And even in year 2, sometimes guys play well as a rookie and then they take a step back in year 2. But by year 3, if they haven't shown success on the field, then you start worrying. But guys typically don't come in and have a great deal of success like Stroud is having. And I know that the Texans' record may not show that he's playing at an elite level, but if you're watching the games week in and week out, for a rookie, he's playing at an elite level. So rarely do you have rookies come in at the quarterback position and play at this high of a level and don't continue to ascend. And what I've seen, the second part, the processing and all that was the first part I wanted to see with all the new variables. The second part I wanted to see, is he improving? Does he get hot in a game and plays good in 1 week and then the next week he's not? It has been consistent improvement for the most part. And we just saw his best game as a pro this past weekend, midway through the season. So I'm so impressed with what he's done. If I'm sitting there in the Houston Texans organization, I believe that we have our guy. And you look around the league with all the backups starting, all the injuries we had at quarterback, there are only 10, 12 guys that you look to and say, all right, they've got their guy at quarterback. And now Houston all of a sudden is one of those organizations, which is remarkable to think about considering all the talk about Stroud coming out of college and all the people who are just tearing him apart in the pre-draft process.
This is something that we were kind of talking about leading up to today was if you're building out a team and thinking about what's better, would you rather have the O-line in place or money spent on the weapons on the outside? Because, Tank Dell had a really nice game, but he's only had 2 games, a little over 100 yards receiving. Same for Nico Collins. So, most, other than the fantasy part of it, when you look at the weapons, it's not like he rolled into this spot where some of the other younger guys, and they'll save money on the quarterback contract, so maybe they'll invest in that in free agency with some of the guys that are available. But what would you rather have in place for a young quarterback as you were team building?
I mean, I would start with protection because that's the first thing that will tear apart his confidence. Drop passes, if he's protected and drop passes or guys not getting open, as long as you're getting enough time and you can process and you get the ball where it's supposed to go, in time we can fix that. You bring in a young quarterback, and we've seen it time and time again. Start with David Carr, one of my first years scouting. That ruined him. With the Texans years and years and years ago, 20 plus years ago, you can ruin a quarterback without protection. early in his career. I don't think you can ruin a quarterback by not having great weapons. I think that's one of those things you go free agency, draft, and within 2 years you can bring that along. The Giants have not been able to fix their offensive line. It took the Dolphins forever to fix their offensive line. Organizations like that really struggle to find the right guys and playing together. And, the Texans, they haven't been great up front, but they've been serviceable, and they certainly haven't ruined his confidence or taken anything away. I would much rather have protection for a rookie than I would have great weapons.
I know he lost this week, but Will Levis, man, there felt like there was a little bit more to that. And a couple of the throws felt like, I'm always like at home kind of going like, all right, did you need that throw? Like I mentioned it with Josh Allen, like there was a pick, but then there was another throw that was a completion that the broadcast is raving about. And I was like, was that actually a bad decision? Because there was a defender underneath as well as somebody on top. And look, it's a sick completion. He has the arm strength to pull that off. And Levis had a couple of those throws where like game situation dictated that he had to find a way to like get it out, get it outside the numbers, taking a bit of risk as somebody a little bit underneath. But the way they showed the camera angle on one of those throws to the left, it's like he actually thought he had it the whole time. And, Levis had lost a lot of people towards the end of that year at Kentucky. So like he was getting beat up, but you're like, do you realize all the people that they're missing? I was completely like, I had no idea. I had no idea which way it was going to go. We still don't really know. Yeah. But I think there were some glimpses into like, if you compare his talent to Pickett on the other side, like Levis is the more talented guy, and I think it's something the Titans should feel good about despite the loss.
I totally agree. Watching that whole game, I asked myself that same question. Would you rather have Pickett, the first-round draft pick, the top quarterback in that class, or would you rather have Levis? It's only 2 games, right, the sample size? But from what I saw on that field, going not head-to-head, but in the same game, Levis is the answer. So far. Now we'll see. Again, we talked about it like the first game, the second game. You saw some things that Pittsburgh was doing that was frustrating them a little bit more than you saw in the first game for Will Levis. But the thing that I always look at with rookie quarterbacks, is it a grind, or are they kind of comfortable with what they're doing, and are they willing to take some chances? And is their talent level at a certain bar or certain spot where they can make some throws, they can make some plays that a lot of other guys, like when Kenny Pickett, when they're having success, it still feels like a grind. Have you noticed that? Like,
by the way, I love the way you describe it because it's exactly how I feel. Like you just go, okay, what's the answer here? Like, does he give you a chance? Like for right now, it sucks for Bryce Young, but it's a grind for Bryce Young.
Yes,
and look, for him to have 2 pick sixes is completely uncharacteristic because even when you think he's not doing anything, you wouldn't expect these monumental mistakes. And the second pick 6 is just a terrible decision. Pickett, unless it's just kind of like a throw out to Pickens, and obviously Deontay's really good too.
Yeah, or a 50-50 ball.
And I love that he's actually taking the chances because we'll see some other rookie quarterbacks or second-year quarterbacks, their confidence is so shot. They're so afraid of losing the gig and on making some sort of mistake that they don't even want to make those throws. So I give Pickett credit, but sometimes that looks like Pittsburgh's best chance is Pickens on a go route because he's so nasty.
Right. And Kenny Pickett isn't even taking enough of those chances, Whereas Levis, it feels like I saw a couple times like it was a questionable decision to make a throw, but I got D-Hop. Let's take a chance. And it's like, there's a certain level of confidence that you have to have. You either have it or you don't, where like, I'm going to take a chance as a rookie and you do it and you make a throw that's a difficult throw and you give your receiver a chance to make a play. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, at least you have the arm strength. You had the right mindset, the aggressiveness to go let your best players go make plays. And it's not always going to work out, but sometimes it feels like with Pickett, you just want to strangle him. Like, hey, Pickens is the best player on the field right now. Give him more chances. I mean, Pickens is losing his mind right now. I mean, you look at all the media coverage and some of the things he's saying, and I get it. And I think D-Hop, the confidence that he has already in Levis after just 2 games, you feel something building, right? Don't you just watching it, you feel like there's something here. Where Pickett, we're a couple years in, and I'm like, I just don't know. Like, what's the ceiling? I think there are going to be major bumps in the road. Durability is going to be a factor with Will Levis. Can he keep himself healthy? He's so determined that sometimes he gets in his own way. Like, all those things we'll have to sort out over time. But I'm already seeing in a couple games, like, even if things aren't great, he's going to make some plays. And there's a confidence and like an injection of energy into that Titans offense that you don't see with Pittsburgh. And you don't see with some of these other young quarterbacks that are grinding through it.
Yeah, I think it can feel a little unfair too, because we've had more sample of Pickett playing in games. You're like, it's not like every time Levis plays, you're going to feel like he's killing it. I mean, he's going to hit his struggle, but I just felt like there was something in that game. Maybe it's too much from that one game, but I like the way you described it as far as just the grind, sitting and watching a game going, like, how do you feel right now about their chances of figuring this out?
Like when you watch the Jets, right? Zach Wilson, it's a grind. And even though he's making like incremental improvements, it's like you almost, if you're a Jets fan, it's probably like a breath, like a relief, like, whew, like he made that throw. That late drive that they had to win the game in their last outing. He made the big throw to drive them down before they spiked the ball and kicked the field goal to go to overtime. Like, when those things happen, it's like, whew, oh my gosh, like, all right, he made a play. Whereas with Will Levis, it's like you don't expect it, but you're kind of like, I get some confidence. Like, the pocket's bearing down on him a little bit. Like, I still feel like he's got a chance to make that throw. Some of these young quarterbacks, I don't have that same feeling when I'm watching in that 3-second span from when the ball snapped to when it's coming out.